From the Spacebird Media Studios, it's Roxanne and Ace Unlimited.
Hey, what's up? We're Roxanne and Ace. Welcome to Unlimited. Welcome to Friday, and welcome to the 100th episode of this podcast.
Yay!
We are super excited. Of course, thanks to My Brothers Cup and Birmingham Mortgage Group for making another season just a success, and we're so excited to unveil the next level. So that's coming, but looking forward to just another great week. Christmas, of course. How's all the decor and everything? I know you've got new balloons around you. But that's for party reasons. You know, you don't just replace Jesus with balloons without a reason. He understands. But are you ready for Christmas?
Yes, I think Jesus would be okay with balloons, first thing. I had a little stress out moment today about Christmas because adult children sometimes do not want to cooperate. And I'm just gonna be real. When I ask you what you want for Christmas, please do respond, because it leaves Mama sad, because Mama does not want to see any child under a tree that doesn't have an actual present there.
Sure.
And so I had one child just won't do it, and so he gets a gift card. That was agonizing for me. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't love it, and and this is not a biological, which is fine.
Still, you want to love them,
But I want, and I got a little something that he's not expecting, but the gift card's the bulk of it, and that was painful. But that said, I will say, you're a great gift giver. I've tried to find some things that you would really love. But this year, to laugh, on the same day, I know you got the card the same day. I got the card, and we got each other the very same gift card.
Yeah.
I just had to laugh.
Well, and our schedules are so busy that, normally we take the time to be able to do some kind of like luncheon, coffee, something so we can exchange gifts. But yeah, this was the first year. And there was a part of me that hesitated because I got you the gift card for the bookstore for your birthday, which was, just a few weeks ago. But I was like, you know what? If I don't, she's going to think I didn't get her anything. And then it's the whole, I got a gift for you, I get it to you, which to me sounds like, yeah, sure, you got me a gift. Like I didn't want to sound like that guy. Nothing against anyone who wants to wait till post-Christmas, but I didn't want to wait. Like, you and I have been friends a long time. So, but I love that our brains have now officially synced up. Like the metamorphosis is complete.
Pretty amazing. Well, I know you just got back from seeing your adult daughters.
Yeah, so nice little 5-day trip to Michigan was great. And I will say, you talk about, having adult kids. It's kind of cool to be in that dynamic where, like gone are the days of the, it's my weekend, right? When you have divorced parents and, you've got them these weekends, I've got them these weekends. Like when gone are those days and just everybody's kind of together in their wheelhouse, it's amazing. Like conversations are great. You're just talking about, and I talk to my girls every day, at least every week. So it's not like I'm not in the know, in the loop. You're just picking up the conversation from the last time you talked. But being able to have one-on-one time with them, especially now that they're in their careers, is great because, of course, I always go so McCartney can cut my hair and, what's under the fedora does actually not look so shaggy. But then my oldest, who works at a wax salon, she's like, Dad, come on, you got to at least let me do your eyebrows. And I was like, okay. So I was like, you know what? Gone are the days of sitting around in a, pretend dress with tea party and let them paint my nails. This is that now, right? As adults. So I had my first experience of being waxed, and it wasn't that bad. I didn't hate it. Like it was just very chill. Now that first initial, rip was a little much, but after the first one, it was kind of like a tattoo. I was like, all right, I'm in this. Like if that's all you got, come on, And so it was great. It was fun, and we got to exchange some really cool gifts. We saw Wicked again, so that within itself, and I'll probably see it 4 more times before the holidays are over. But yeah, it was great. And the weather cooperated, thank the Lord. It was very, very windy, but the snow had melted, and we just kind of went and did our thing. I'm stuffed. Like, I don't want to eat the rest of the year.
Well, while you were in Michigan, we took a quick trip to Dollywood to see Dollywood at Christmas. Listen, whatever you do, go. If you've ever wanted to go, it is so beautiful and romantic. And there is a giant tree in the middle of Dollywood with iridescent butterflies, and its snow comes out of the tree. It was so overwhelmingly beautiful. And I mean, this girl's been to the Eiffel Tower, okay? I just wept. It was that beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I highly recommend it. It'll really, if you're not in the Christmas spirit, you will be after you leave Dollywood. Now, we have to go here. Imagine those poor people in New Jersey. You go out in your yard, you look up, and there is a drone with lights that looks like a UFO that is the size of an SUV.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I would want someone to tell me, is a little green man going to come out of there and try to probe me or call me up? Or are you looking for a nuke that someone dropped out of their backpack in my yard? What is going on?
Yeah.
And, I get into this kind of stuff. So I have watched, I'm embarrassed, probably hours. And I even bored you with it. Hours of drone coverage.
Wow. I didn't even realize there was hours. I just remember seeing people posting pictures from it. And I was like, okay, well, this is the new phenomenon, which immediately took me to that scene from Goodfellas where he was paranoid and he's like looking up, driving through the interstate and looking at it. It's like, there they are. Look, and it's like, that's kind of how I envisioned everyone in Jersey was, watching the drones do that. But yeah, I mean, I want to know, is it just someone like playing a joke, or are we going to find out at some point that it's some kind of new surveillance? Like, I don't know.
Here's the thing. Do not mess with the intelligence of the American people. Do not come out and tell us, well, it's not a foreign threat,
right?
But we don't know what it is. Duh. Yes, you do.
Right.
You just don't tell us. And I understand we can't know everything. Yeah. But here's the problem. They don't want to tell us now that it's sniffing for a nuke or a chemical weapon. But later on, they're going to have to say, yeah, it was ours. And that's why it has lights on it, so it won't get shot down. And, oh, by the way, that's what we were doing. So why not be up front a little bit sooner rather than later when everybody is mad as a hornet over not. I mean, these things are close to people.
Well, I mean, in a day and age where AI is finally happening in this universe and timeline, why wouldn't aliens finally make their way here? I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. But I'm with you. Don't make me find out after the fact and go, was I in the lawn in my, underwear checking the mail? Like, it's like you don't want to be embarrassing yourself, but at the same time, don't make me think you're being sneaky about something that's not cool. But I'm not I'm a conspiracy theorist enough that if I let myself go down that rabbit hole, I'll jump in.
Well, the holidays, we mentioned a little bit of the hustle and bustle and trying to get everybody the right gift. And a little reminder is that the holidays are actually holy days. And we need to take some time and think about what it's all about, the stress and all that. It really is about people. Scripture has a lot to say about our relationships. 2 Corinthians 3:5, we can go see that. We can see Romans 12 telling us to renew our mind, to focus on what really matters in this season. And C.S. Lewis says the future is something which everyone reaches at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, whatever he does, whoever he is. So it's a reminder we need to slow down. Somebody right now is going, oh, yeah, Roxanne, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy that as we get into a season that is supposed to be reflective and meditative, that we're go, 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 go. and then we realized we got to the other side of it, and it blinked. And to me, this has been one of the fastest years anyway. I don't want, Advent and Christmas and New Year's to come and go, and I feel like I didn't get a chance to catch my breath. And I think, and I've said this before, and it always bears repeating because we celebrate Advent every year for a reason. But if during Advent you didn't get into some new tempo or even check, even if you've done a great tempo all year, you didn't have a gut check to go, all right, I'm in my spot. This is good. Thank you, Lord, because that's what it's for, is to get back into those better habits.
One thing we need to do, of course, this time of year is think of the less fortunate. I had the money to decide I'm going to get a gift card for a family member, and I allowed that to irritate me. How ridiculous when there are others who are homeless, are hungry, right, and the grieving around this time of year. A lot of people are suffering from loss. This will be our first Christmas without my mother-in-law, the matriarch of the family, such a strong woman of faith. And to be without her at the holidays is really hard. It's just hard. It doesn't feel the same. Yeah. And so we've got to just think of the less fortunate, think of family, and think about those relationships, and think of the gifts that matter the most. And Ace, you remember the little handmade things? Gosh, I wish I could go grab this plate off the wall that Hannah made when she was a little girl. Mm-hmm. Dear Santa, I'll read it. I've been a really good girl. Here's a treat for you. Enjoy it. Love, Hannah. And she's decorated it. And the writing's all, like kindergartenish. And mm-hmm. I love that plate.
Yeah.
Better than some fancy gifts I've gotten. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah, because the heart of an innocent child is amazing and humbles you quickly, because it ends up being more of a popular item than, say, something they get from the store, or, something that has lots of money put into it. But also it's remembering all the times you used that plate, or, knowing that it was a tradition Christmas-wise. Like, one of the things that the girls and I did, and they're full adults, we made Christmas cookies. Like, we got the decor, we got, the goofy googly eyes, and, we did some one-eyed cookies, and we did some, with, crazy colors and mixing them up. And, and of course, my daughter, who's the cosmetologist, she's like using all of her tricks of the trade of hair dyes and how you mix in for waves and stuff. And she's doing these little intricate, I'm like, what? So I don't want to eat that cookie. I want to display it for everyone to see. But when you can put on a Christmas movie and still have that with them. So, what would be fun is, like, if you found a way to incorporate it into your traditions now. Mom, why do you display that plate? Because I love it. It's a reminder to her of how much of a memento it's become.
Well, it hangs on the wall so everybody can see it. And I love where it is. Well, one thing to keep in mind as we sit down to Christmas dinner, and I think this is really smart, have a plan ahead of time of what you're not going to talk about. And I think politics, we have some boomers in the family, and we have some millennials, and we have some Gen Zs, and wow, the opinions are drastically different. And I just don't want to walk into a mine, of just a minefield. We're not going to go there. And there have been little hints that we're not. If we do, it will be hair, teeth, and nails. I'm just saying.
That's when you have the music in the background and you just start turning it up. Frank Sinatra's getting really loud. This must be a topic we're not supposed to talk about.
Because, we had some folks that were in depression for weeks over it. I did not want to bring up a depressing topic. Well, a happy topic is our friend Terren Newell, Birmingham Mortgage Group. He's just a great man of God, a fun guy, a smart guy, and he makes it his mission. He's like the mortgage guru. He's going to find the program for you that absolutely works. We're talking about Birmingham Mortgage Group.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and set up your pre-approval before you start looking after the first of the year, or even dream about that dream home or first home, and know how much you can get into with affordable programming. You can find out more when you set it up at bhammortgage.com, or call them at 205-259-1656. Tell them you heard about it on Roxanne and Ace.
So if you've got little kids at home, oh my goodness, popular toys, time to certainly talk about that. Sparkly Green Eyes, an official yoga interactive goat. Now, this thing is cute. It's so cute. It will
Mm-hmm.
make you want to rush to Target to get it at $40. Then there's kinetic sand, and there's a dessert making kit. And this sand is just, it's good for adults. It's our modern day Play-Doh,
Yeah.
Ace. This kinetic sand is the coolest. And it doesn't get all, you think sand, mother's nightmare,
Right.
but it's not like that because it sticks. It has huge ratings. It's $11 at Amazon, 4.9 out of 5 stars. It makes you want to be a kid again.
Yeah.
Promise.
Well, and one of the things that I actually saw when I was shopping with my girls this weekend of looking at things that had become new again, but they were extreme. So now they have a Rubik's Cube that's like the size of your head. So rather than the old ones that you were doing like this, you're literally
Yeah.
turning it with your whole palm trying to get your hand around. But people are like, that's one of the items that kids are like, I want the oversized Rubik's Cube. I'm like, man, that's like an ottoman. Like you could like prop your feet up on that thing. Like I never could solve them back in the day, let alone my brain's not anymore in tune color wise. I just, peel the stickers
Well,
off
and
and
how
make
can
it
you go
work.
fast with that, right? How can
I'm
you?
sure somebody would. There's always that gene. Because have you seen those? Like they'll do like blindfolded Rubik's Cube, and they're like,
Oh, yeah.
can't see it at all. And then, 30 seconds later, it's done. And I spent, from, 8 to 14 going, I don't know how to do that. I still look at it and kind of cringe, but I love the ones that are the toys that are interactive because now that they found that like the sand or like the little popper boards or whatever, that it like helps to relax like anxiety and ADHD and all that. Like anything that's a toy but yet a reliever, like you don't realize that it's bringing you peace or relaxing you. It's just a toy. But, your child is calmer. Maybe you play with it when they have gone over to a friend's house, and you're like, shoot, the kid in me needs this thing.
Well, they've got those dance pads, and I thought, I want one of those. They probably make them for adults, but the kids one I could probably do the dance pad on the floor where it lights up like when you go to the arcade. I thought, oh, that'd be a good workout. As long as nobody saw me doing it, we'd be okay. So some stats for singles, people in their 20s and 30s, I found this to be amazing, are spending on average 90 minutes a day on dating apps.
I believe that.
Where are these people with all this time, Ace?
Yeah. Well, and I feel like now with online dating, people are really getting, at least the people I know that are using it, they're getting very transparent, especially adults, like if you've been married before and you're trying to do it right this time, like they're very transparent of like, this is what I want and this is who I am and either come on or get out of the way. Like that's just kind of how I feel that. And I think as someone who did kind of dabble in that, back when I was single, that's kind of how I was. Like, I'm like, I don't have time to play. But then it was just kind of overwhelming. They were like 2 minutes. Hey, the Lord told me we're supposed to go on it. Did he now?
What?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody said the Lord told me
yeah.
we were. Oh,
And
wow.
it's like, and I'm just meeting you for the first time. I don't know how in sync with God you are. You look cute, but back that Holy Spirit up before you start just dropping it that way. But anyway, I think they have to be, I think you have to be candid. And I think the more candid you are, then probably the more options of the kinds of people that you're looking to go on dates with show up.
Yeah, I think that helps. But don't be like my man and say, I'm just looking for a friend. Right? No, you're not. No, you're not.
Well, and even like the apps that they have that are just for friends. I mean, I'd be curious the stat on how many of those ended up becoming a marriage. It's like, why are we just friends? You're perfect for me. You're perfect. We're perfect together. Come on.
Let's go further. And you managed to have a baseball hat that is perfectly clean. Listen, you learn something new every day. This You're going to love me for this.
All right.
This advice about how to clean a baseball cap. Now, I will admit, Walter Payton, those of you who are much, much older, will remember the famous Chicago Bear,
Yes.
who took a bear's cap and put hearts and wrote sweetness on it. It needs to be washed.
Yeah.
I can't bear it.
Yeah.
If the ink came off, I would flip out. That
Sure.
would be bad.
Yep.
But what you're supposed to do, and you need to clean your hat. Your hat is nasty. I'm
It
just
is.
going to say it's supposed to be cleaned every 6 months. You're putting that over dirty hair. You know you are.
Yeah.
And it needs to be washed. But guess what? You should wash it. According to the experts, you put it in the dishwasher.
See, I've heard that, but I can't bring myself to do that out of fear of it messing up the hat. So
But you don't do the heat portion. You just do the washing portion.
and then let
And
it
you
dry
do that
naturally.
with on the top rack. Yeah. And
Okay.
you use oxygen bleach and a little bit of dish detergent, and it turns out perfectly. See, if you try to hand wash it, disaster.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to hand wash. See, you learn something every day. I think I'm going to try it
Okay.
with a hat that I'm a little less fond of.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Is like, what's the one that I know is either so dirty that only Jesus himself could actually split the dirt molecules on this nasty thing. So, but I also feel like I need to do it when my wife is not home, because if she sees me putting ball caps in the dishwasher where we clean our dishes, she'll be like, "What are you doing?" And then I have to explain myself, and I try not to do that too often.
Yeah, because it's just, Another thing, you learn something new every day. Why do so many people wear all black? And I think it's kind of funny we're talking about this while I'm literally, I love to wear all black.
Sure.
And one time you and I, here's another thing. We showed up at an event wearing all black, top and bottom, both of us.
Yeah.
And I just think it's fun. So the New York Times went and asked some fashion experts, why do people do this? Why do we wear all black? Why do we love it so much? And they say the following: black is modest and arrogant at the same time. Black is lazy, black is easy, but mysterious. But above all, black says, I don't bother you and you don't bother me. It's cool, it's just like, it's Johnny Cash, it's Batman,
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because I've got a coworker with one of my jobs that he wears all black every day, and like nothing changes. Even when we had the staff
Every
Christmas
day?
party, yeah. And then even when we had staff Christmas party, he still came to that, but it was a nicer all black. But he is the most like approachable. Like if he passes you in the hall and you give him a millisecond to get in a conversation, he will take it. And that's what everybody loves about him, is he's just so chatty. So he's not mysterious or Johnny Cash about him. He's just like, this is what I wear, Makes it easy when I have to do the laundry. It's fair.
Yeah, well, kind of like a Steve Jobs, you know what you're going to wear every day.
Yeah.
It takes that decision away.
It's true.
That would be streamlining it for sure. Well,
Amen.
There's something you and I are very, very pumped about, and that's Mel Gibson putting together. It's not going to be Passion of the Christ. It's going to be about the resurrection. Jim Caviezel will be involved.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of mystery surrounding this, but apparently Mel Gibson went to the island of Malta, where they may shoot this movie. And a lot of people want to see it happen. The first movie, Passion of the Christ, 612 million. And that's been a long time ago. It's been 20 years. Can you believe it?
Wow. Well, and I remember seeing Passion of the Christ in theater with my friend Maverick, and he and I didn't even talk to each other all the way home. We didn't get refreshments going in, because it felt really weird to be jumping on popcorn during a crucifixion. But it wasn't until the next day that we walk into work and we're like, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm all right. You all right?" I go, "I'm all right." Like it changes you. Like you can't watch it and not. So to be on this side. Because again, the thing I love, and after going back through, this was probably several years ago, reading all of the chapters and books after the crucifixion, it's amazing to then see the birth of Christianity and the church and all of that coming together, because while now we have, our templates and our bulletins and our websites and everything's organized and whatever, they were just trying to find out what do we do now, And so I look forward to seeing that part of it, because I think it will also give a perspective to churches on how we should be doing church. Like, we don't have to have it all figured out. We don't have to have everything in order. We just have to follow Jesus. Like, that was the one underlining theme, and not to give it away in case you haven't read the book, but that's kind of the truth of it. But again, I love that Jim is involved, because I think for so many people since that movie, it's like, when I think of the face of Christ, Jim Caviezel's face is the one I think of. And I'm sure, and Jim's talked about it. I've seen interviews with him since, because he's done other projects since that movie, of course. And he goes,
you've met him. You're being very humble. You've met him.
Well, we passed each other in a lobby in Nashville. I don't know that he would remember it as well as I do, because I was already a fan of him before he was in the Jesus role. But he is the coolest, humblest of guys, and he's big friends with Stephen Curtis Chapman and a lot of the artists, in the industry. So whenever he gets a chance to go do speaking engagements on tours with the artist, he does and has. But I think the interviews I've seen of him where he's like, if people want to associate my face in that character role when they're praying or when they're asking for healing, he goes, I'm okay with it. He's like, I'm honored. He goes, if that's the closest I can be to Jesus before I'm actually standing in front of him myself, what an honor. I think the same thing with the cast of Chosen, and like they've kind of said the same thing, of that to be walking and, portraying these stories in the way that you think that it actually happened, and all we have to go off of is scripture and some theologian minds. But again, it's kind of a beautiful thing. Like, if someone were to go, yeah, when I think of Ace, I think of Jesus, I'm like, okay.
Be all right.
Live up to that expectation. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
That would be all right. Well, kids are mischievous, aren't they? The things that we have caught them doing. And there's a big collection of funny stories. A woman says, the kids are really quiet. And that's something. When you got a couple of them and they're suddenly quiet, they're up to something. So she goes out in the middle of the kitchen. They've got every mixing bowl, every sprinkle, every pan. And she says, what are you making? And she says, we're making something. We'll bring it to you. They were just going to mix something together.
Wow.
I think it's so cute.
Yeah. Well, so have you ever had to eat something that your child made and you didn't quite know what it was going to taste like until you put it in your mouth?
Yeah. And you're like, so good.
Honey, thank you. I'm going to save this for later. That's why I love that I have adult daughters now that can cook, because I'm like, yeah, great. Let me know when it's ready.
Well, a mother crawls into her bed and there was a half-eaten stick of butter, true story, in her bed. And when she asked her child, did you put anything in mommy's bed? She said, I didn't put butter in mama's bed.
At least she outed herself. That's a beautiful thing. I love, and you're big on TikTok. I love seeing, like, when people post pictures of their kids and they've like stuffed food inside their shirt and they're like, what do you have? Nothing. And then they watch them walk away and they go, and then they come back. What do you have? Nothing. Yeah. Suddenly the muffins are half gone, but you have nothing.
But you have nothing. And a woman remarks, I've learned 2 new things today. My son can open baby powder and he can also climb the bookshelf. Speaking of TikToks, the TikToks of a kid who gets a hold of a crayon and crayons the wall and takes a pen and colors his brother or sister.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
It makes me very nervous. But the most I ever had that with the girls was Lennon was left to her own vices, and she got into a box of Band-Aids under the bathroom counter. And so you come into the bathroom and she's sitting there and there's like, and it was one of those big mega boxes. So you had like, big bandages and little thin finger ones and whatever. And she had just pulled them all out, and she was like sticking them on her body, and just. And then, of course, this was in the days of like the handheld video cameras where you could turn the video monitor around so they could see themselves. So while I'm trying to capture her being cute, because I knew as soon as she knew I was videoing her, she would go, Anasi, like, and so I'd have to go, and then she would stop. Then she would stop the thing she's doing, and all she's doing is looking at the camera and going, "That's me. That's me." Yes. Can we see which of the Band-Aids are now salvageable? Because Daddy needs one.
Well, and Band-Aids are expensive.
And it's always the thing. Why is it that Band-Aids are the thing you can't find when you need them? Like, hey, I need a Band-Aid. Yeah. And someone's like, I think I saw, and you go to like 4 different places of the logical place a Band-Aid would hide. But then you go and they're not there. And then finally, after like 30 minutes, somebody goes, oh, yeah, I used the last one 2 weeks ago. Couldn't you have said that
That's
like
just
30
the way
minutes
it
ago
is.
before I bleed all the way down the hall? Like, that would be fantastic. Don't tell them that's good.
Imagine starting your day with a coffee that changes lives. Say hello to Roxanne Blend. With creamy malty aromas and hints of caramel, pecan, and butterscotch, Roxanne Blend is crafted from the finest Arabica and Robusta beans. Perfect for espresso or your favorite cup in the morning. At My Brother's Cup, every purchase supports medical and humanitarian missions, helping victims of trafficking. Enjoy quality, care, and a cause you can believe in. Visit mybrotherscup.com and make a difference with every sip. Roxanne Blend. Great coffee, greater good.
Chefs are giving us our to-dos for the new year because there are cities that we need to be visiting just based on our love of food. And you and I are foodies. So that's always like wherever we're going, I want the thing that everybody else has been eating or the reason why you brought me here.
Listen to how yummy this sounds. Go to Thailand and try street food, which normally if you go to Mexico and you try the street food, it might not be the best plan.
Yeah.
But in Thailand, they serve up plump Thai pork sausages stuffed with noodles, a sour pork sausage grilled over charcoal until it's swollen and glistening and nearly popping out of its casing. They say you take a bite of that, it's like visiting heaven, that you'll never want to leave Thailand after. It does sound yummy.
I love street food anyway, so if you're telling me that it's safe and I probably will, because it's the smells that lure me in a lot of times. Like you're like, oh, I'm full from lunch, but that smells amazing, and you're gorging yourself on it.
One of the places I recommend visiting is Guatemala, of all things. What you would expect, the corn tortillas, the tostadas, the tamales, the empanadas. Listen, I could eat Mexican every day, and it's a joke in our household. Wayne's like, so where do you want to go? Oh, yeah, I know where you
Yeah.
Well,
as someone who has been to Guatemala and had the tortillas, they taste way better than they do here. Like you can give me the closest thing possible, but there is, and I am also, you want to talk about like food reactor. I cannot eat scrambled eggs anymore without having tortilla chips and black beans. Like the way when we ate them, because that was a breakfast, because they wanted to make sure, because it was a mission trip, so they wanted us proteined up and charged for the day. So eggs, so it was a breakfasty kind of thing. You had some of the most amazing smooth coffee I think I've ever had. It was strong, you were awake after a cup of it. But then you throw in the tortilla chips and black beans, like it was amazing. I'm like, I never in my American home would I have ever thought, let's throw the black bean in there, that's good. It's so good. So I condone this on 100 scale.
Well, it's no surprise that New Orleans makes a list. I have eaten my way through that city several times. You got to go get beignets, of course, but they highly recommend that you get a po' boy, a sandwich that's made with fried shrimp, roast beef or fried oysters, and real crusty bread. It just tastes better when you're in New Orleans. You need to get a muffaletta, an Italian sandwich. They specialize in that. Let's face it, you could just go to New Orleans, the restaurants. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it's some of my
So
favorites.
good.
And also remember that you have to post when you've done it, because we now live in a day and age that you don't eat until you've taken a photo, because everything's beautifully laid out on a plate and you're like, ooh, where'd you get that? Like, you talk about New Orleans, like there's a place that's probably 20 minutes from my house that has like French style and New Orleans style beignets and like all the pastries that you come to know about for Mardi Gras or whenever you go. And now, I have not been to New Orleans yet, so I can't compare, but it's the closest I've been, and knowing that it's there brings me joy, because every time I drive by, I can roll down the window, and it's that free
Oh,
smells.
yeah.
You've fresh bread smells any country I'm in. I'm like, give me some of that.
Another place to eat anytime, but especially in 2025, highly recommended, is Corsica, France. It's an island, lots of fresh seafood there. But I will say, any food in Paris. And I was warned about how great it was going to be. But we literally, the first little cafe we walked up to and sat down and had quiche of all things.
Yeah.
It was so good. I really don't even have words for the food there. It's just, and I'm not even into French food, but everything there tastes so good.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course, it's chef recommended for 2025.
So as we talk about the new year, I was curious, you and I always like to compare and talk about like what we're anticipating, or where we feel like God's kind of taking us into the new year. So some people like to revolve around a word, or some people like to revolve around a phrase or a book that they've been into for devotions. So I wanted to get your thoughts as we head into the new year, what your kind of where you are spiritually on that.
Well, I want to be in the now. In the now. When we're worried about the future or ruminating about the past, it is not doing us any good. And as we mentioned early in the show, C.S. Lewis said, we all get the same 60 minutes in an hour.
Yeah.
And they're ticking. And I'm at the place where I want to make the most of my time. I want to be God-centered and God-honoring. I want him number one. I want that relationship to be solid, and then everything else falls into place. But if I'm not in the present, I mean, really worshiping him, really in the moment with those that I love. I went to lunch the other day and I didn't pull out my phone once, not once.
Good.
Didn't look, didn't wait for, even if it was on silent, for there to be a movement, nothing. Because I want to experience life to the fullest in the now. And I want it to matter. I want moments to matter as I get a little older. Time, I've already lived the majority of my life. I really have. And it's been great, but I want to make the most of it. I hope that makes some sense. And
Absolutely.
for you?
Yeah. So for me, my word for the year is silence. And I know it's probably going to be my biggest challenge, because I'm a musician, B, a drummer, and I love music about at the top of anything that's non my wife or Jesus. Like it is my
Right.
love it's my companion. Like it gets me to and from Michigan. It gets me to and from work. It's the thing that I do when, I'm the only morning person. Everyone else likes to keep to themselves. So I pop in the earbuds and I'm listening to whatever I want. So, but what's been great about it is, even as I've started to kind of dabble in, okay, I'm going to be conscious and not have anything playing right now, just so and again, that also means I have to shut up. I have to not talk so that I can hear from God and get into a rhythm, because I feel blessed enough that I feel like I do know the difference between God's voice and my own agenda. And if you're not there with him yet, silence may be what you need to get that. But what I've loved in those moments already when I've had them, and again, it is a stretch, so it's not been long and they've not been as often, but the year hasn't really started for me yet. So I've got a lot of growth to go, but I'm only making excuses. But it's in those moments that he has said, when you feel razzled about whatever it is of the day or whatever, the silent moments is where you're going to find your peace this year. And I so look forward to that, because if I'm feeling it, then I know that I can train myself, just like you would with a workout or a choreography. You train yourself to literally shut everything down and out so that you can have a moment with God that he can just, it's like when your child runs to you and they're hurt, right? And you can comfort them. I feel like those silence moments, I'm really looking forward to being a place of peace and serenity. And, I just need to hear from my Lord right now, because there are still things as an adult that I let rattle me, and I don't like it. Like I'm at that point where I don't want to waste my energy. I've been this way for a while. I don't like wasting my energy on things that I can't change and that I'm simply just inconvenienced. It's me going, why do I have to deal with this? But I think we all go through that, and we have to get to that place where, okay, what have I learned from when I've been frustrated? It doesn't make it escalate to a resolve quicker. Just be, oh, well, Ace is mad. And the Lord goes, let me get to this. Done. It's still going to unfold. If anything, it might even delay the resolve, because I've worked myself into a frenzy over something that I couldn't change, and I'm waiting on him to resolve it anyway. But I just want to be, especially, as we change presidents and the world kind of looks and starts to feel different again, I don't know what any of it is in my hands anyway. So I do want to find that place. Right. And if he's telling me, which again, he's telling me music is not your serenity place, it is in the silence. And so if I'm already hearing that, then it's already okay, I know what I have to do. And then if I choose not to, then I have no one to blame but myself.
Well, and I think a component of that is being at peace.
Yeah.
When you talk about being frazzled and stressed, a lot of people are dealing with that right now. And we want to be at peace. And one way we can do that is certainly what you're focusing on, which is silence. So I love that.
Yeah. Well, of course, this being our 100th episode, for those who are a part of this podcast, the celebration has been leading up to something. And as we birth into the next plateau, God is always opening doors and things that we never thought. Like you don't go seeking out certain opportunities in your life. You're just like, okay, God, whatever you want to do. And so Roxanne and I have been friends for a long, long time. We were a morning show that then took hiatus and then came back in this format. And wherever you're listening, thank you. Wherever you're watching, thank you. But now, as we head into season 3 and into 2025, we are going to be on demand with the Now Network, which is a Christian network, puts us on Roku, on Amazon, on all kinds of devices with over literally almost 1 billion people worldwide. So this is a special app. If you love Christian programming, there's live programming daily. There's also on-demand programming that we also will be a part of. But for those who are not aware of us, it's an entryway. But for those that are already with us, come with us so that you can also benefit from the teaching of these other programs and fellow broadcasters.
Well, it's an incredible honor. And one of the things I love about it is we're a radio-based show. We don't have a big television ministry that's broadcasting in our neighborhood. And yet we're one of only 2 shows that do that are part of this network that has 236 million people clued in to On Demand. And the app is beautiful. So if you are not familiar with the Now Network, the On Demand, the app is fabulous. It is so easy to navigate. And this way, click, you're with us. And a lot more people will be too, because it's simply very popular. And God is good to us. A part of me has to pinch myself. This is really a great opportunity. And really what we're all about, Ace, we love each other. We like hanging out, but we really want to share the love of Jesus and the gospel of Jesus with as many people as we possibly can and have fun while we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so having this platform is an honor, and we're going to guard it, and we're going to meet whatever they need to have us do with excellence, and we really hope that it benefits others.
Yeah. And for anyone, if you are catching us now for the first time, literally now for the first time, welcome. I mean, we are excited to walk this next journey together as we grow together in our faith. We learn from each other. We're going to have guests. It could be Christian artists. It could be authors, pastors. I mean, that's how we grow together in community, so that as you find a local church and you're invested into the community, that way we are also a part of your community and vice versa. So don't ever be afraid not to tell us what you're thinking and feeling. You can go to roxanneandace.com and contact us directly. We do personally read those emails and comments, and we are the ones responding. So we take it very seriously what God has called us to, and we're very honored to still be doing it after all these many years because we look good, and we have the Lord and, some preservatives to thank for that. But it really is exciting to think about new people finding the show for the first time. That really is just a passion that we have had. So, and those who are with us every week that are like, oh, we love your show. We're not saying that because we want you to love us. We're saying that because we hope you get something out of it. If you get one thing out of it each week, you'll share it with your friends, your family, or you'll come back or go back and listen and watch episodes that you may have missed. Because we do stream on all platforms, so there's nowhere that you can't run from us. I mean, we're easy to find. You kind of run into us. But we're very excited. So we give God all the honor for what's about to happen. So it's going to be a good 2025. All right, so we can't get away until we dive into our vibes of the week. And so I say it doesn't even have to be holiday related, but I'm curious your vibe for this week.
But mine is, we just saw the cutest, sweetest holiday animated film that is great for kids, but adults can laugh too. It's called Claus with a K. It has Norm Macdonald. It must have been one of the last projects he did voicing one of the characters.
Yeah.
And Joan Cusack does an incredible job. This movie is beautifully animated. It's hilarious. It's heartfelt. It's wonderful, and you can find it on Netflix if you're looking for a good family Christmas film.
We can add it to the rotation. All right, so my first Christmas gift of the year was one that I got from my daughter McCartney. She knows Daddy's love of popcorn. She also knows Daddy's love of the Force and the Star Wars galaxy. So as a gift, I have my little Vader popcorn bucket. Oh. And no, it gets better. So there's a lid. So I can, so if I don't want to, and then it's not a big portion, but if I do save any, I can just close the lid. But if I want to share, there's 2 little baby bowls, and there's a Stormtrooper and a Boba Fett.
How cute is that?
To which I'm thinking, can I take this to the movie theater with me? Because now you've got the specialty buckets, right? Pretty much every movie now has the big commemorative bucket. So I'm like, if I can take this to the theater with me, this will be a lot easier. just fill up my Vader head, please. So
that's really
I'm going to put that to some good use. But in the meantime, we're so excited for just a great end of season 2, beginning of season 3, and just a lot of growth and opportunity. Thanks, of course, to Birmingham Mortgage Group and My Brother's Cup for making us capable to get to this point, because podcasting ain't free, but they do take care of us, and we are so honored to have them on this journey because they are also ministry minded. And so we look forward to what God is doing in the new year. So have a great rest of your weekend and holidays. And Roxanne, I love you.
Thank you so much, partner. I've loved this journey with you, and the best is yet to come.
Amen.
You've been listening to Roxanne and Ace Unlimited. To make sure you don't miss future shows, you can subscribe anywhere you like to podcast and catch up on anything you've missed. Find out more at roxanneandace.com. Roxanne and Ace Unlimited is a production of Spacebird Media.